question this week about the different kinds of sugar and whether it matters what kind of sugar it is that you eat if you're trying to avoid sugar. This is a really complicated question, and the reason is that there are many different reasons why people want to avoid sugar. So if the reason that you're trying to avoid sugar is because you don't want to eat chemicals in your food or you don't want to eat refined sugars, then the types of sugars that you want to avoid are corn syrup, white sugar. On a label it'll just say sugar, brown sugar, molasses. All of those foods are actually highly refined sugars. But there are many other kinds of sugars too that get put in our foods. You might see fructose listed on a label, you might see sucrose listed on a label, you might actually see just plain fruit listed on a label. That's sugar too. And I certainly would never say that you shouldn't eat fruit, because fruit's a really healthy food and it's important to get fruit in your diet. But you also need to know that all sugar is going to end up as sugar in your blood. And if you're trying to keep your blood sugar down, or you're trying to avoid health conditions that are related to eating sugar, it's really best to keep all of your sugar down, even if it's natural sugars. So what you need to know is that 4.2 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon. So let's talk about the kinds of foods that you might find sugar in. One kind of food that often has a lot of added sugar is yogurt, and the flavored yogurts in particular. Yogurt by its nature, because it's made from milk, is going to have sugar in it no matter what. Greek yogurt will have less, low-fat yogurt will have more, but you can have, even in a plain low-fat yogurt or non-fat yogurt, up to 3 teaspoons of natural sugar in there. And what you need to know is that that's probably more sugar than you need. And then you go ahead and you have a flavored yogurt, and you can end up with 26, 28, 30 grams of sugar in one small thing of yogurt, which is going to be 7 or 8 teaspoons. Can you imagine taking yogurt and dumping 7 or 8 teaspoons in there? Most people wouldn't do that if they thought about it. And then other foods like a Starbucks, I suppose that's not really food, but say a Starbucks drink, some of those have up to 20 teaspoons of sugar in them. And if you go to a place like P.F. Chang's, most of their dishes that you would order have somewhere between 20 and 30 teaspoons of sugar in them. So I really encourage people to look at exactly how many grams of sugar are in the thing they're eating if they're trying to avoid it. Now, a piece of fruit is going to have probably somewhere between 3 and 4 teaspoons of sugar, or the equivalent. Now, again, fruit is a very healthy food. It has many good nutrients in it. There are antioxidants in it. There's fiber in it. So no, eating a Snicker bar is not the same as eating a piece of fruit. But if you're trying to keep your sugar down, you really want to watch how much fruit you're getting. So sometimes in a smoothie recipe, for instance, people will put in a bunch of different kinds of fruit, and when I have them enter their food into a food tracking program like MyFitnessPal, which is my favorite at this time, we can see that a morning smoothie, someone feels like they're eating a healthy breakfast, can have 10, 20, 30 grams of sugar in there. And for the most part, that's more sugar than you need and more sugar than you want. So my short answer is all sugar is sugar. My long answer is different kinds of sugars impact your body differently. What you want to do for basic is to make sure that you're watching the grams of sugar, that you're trying to eat sugar from natural sources, and that when you eat sugar, you want to make sure you're balancing your sugar out with protein or good quality fat. This is going to slow the release of sugar into your bloodstream, and it's going to make it easier on your body. The last thing I want to say about sugar is if you legitimately feel addicted to it, and let me tell you, it's definitely possible because sugar creates very similar chemicals in your brain as taking certain kinds of drugs, you may want to cut out sugar completely for a while, and that includes fake sugars because they will trigger your body to want more sugar because of the taste. So pay attention to what you really feel like your body is saying to you and what your body needs, because ultimately you know best. I have a number of articles on my blog on my website about sugar. Feel free to go over there and read them. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My website is www.drsamantha.com.